Good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always, with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 281, and this is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, which is youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome. And if you want to make fun of our trophy lists on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. And as always, you can write us at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share this podcast with your friends. And make sure you leave comments and rate our show on wherever you're listening to it. Give us a little rating, a 5-star rating, little blurb saying how much you like it. And that helps us get out there for new listeners. And it's no sweat off your shoulders to do. So we appreciate that, and thank you to anyone who's already done that. And as a reminder, this is a video podcast as well, so you can watch the show if you want on our YouTube channel. And for new and long-time listeners, we do have a Patreon site. You can support our show for $1 a month. The $1 level is called the One and Only $1 Club. So head to patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome so you can become a $1 patron, and we will mail you a free die-cut vinyl sticker in the mail, and we'll give you a shout-out on the podcast. So with that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing on this beautiful Sunday?
Good. I'm exhausted. I've been going nonstop for, I don't know, 2 weeks, it seems like. I was in Nashville all last weekend and then jumped right back into work. And then I was basically, we've been preparing this week we had a family outing at our house today. So between getting ready for that, and then I was at the track all day yesterday, I got home, had to finish cleaning up the house until late, and then was up early getting ready for today. So a bit on the tired side, but other than that, pretty happy about the events of the last little bit and enjoying the weather at least.
Good. Yeah, the weather's been awesome. I misspoke on the last episode. I said you were away for work. Turns out you were just like being a hockey star. It was some sort of hockey championship. I misunderstood.
Star? I don't know about a star, but yeah, me and a bunch of guys went down from Meadville, took a team to Nashville for a tournament.
Yeah, very good. So cool. Yeah, so things have been good on my end. I just been really busy doing a lot of 3D printing for my buddy Mike Fritz, who does the artwork he's done my artwork for the Gas Heart record, and then he went and did the artwork for the new One of My Land record, which is going to be called American Crows. So I'm doing this thing. He's a nerd, so he's making like a lot of he's got like this, like Aliens, like the franchise Aliens. He has this LED LCD, TV or something. It's some sort of TV that is set so it projects upwards and it acts like a table and has a USB drive. So he has managed to load into it like maps, and he has this alien game. And he's just going to run one like weekend campaign, but he's like a super amazing artist. And, buying miniatures and stuff gets kind of pricey when you buy them on the market. So a quick quid pro quo for him doing the artwork for One of My Land record was me agreeing to find and pay for STL files with band money to get him some miniatures for this alien game that he's trying to drive. So I've been doing it's a really cool transaction we've worked out. But so just for instance, I don't know, you probably can't see, but I made this cool little pod. If you can see that, it just lays flat. It's all kind of jacked up, and it's going to just lay in the spaceship. So I'm printing all kinds of cool shit. I made this terminal, which is a 2-part thing that we got to kind of epoxy. So I printed this thing off. It's going to be in the spaceship. So I've been making these really cool 3D prints, but it's so time consuming. But it's one of those labor of love hobbies. I brought Hero Quest Night back. What else is going on in my life? I feel like there was something. Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We're recording this on Father's Day. I know we have some listeners who are dads. I myself am not. Jake, I don't believe you're a dad yet. As if you're planning on being one, maybe. No, I don't know. It's a little personal, but yeah, neither of us have children. But yeah, so I guess, I don't know. These kind of days are weird. I never really know what to do. Like, it's always like, hey, I'm just going to go buy lunch for my mom or my dad because they're both still around, and I'm fortunate to be able to say that. And I'm always like, that's not really enough. Like, they can buy their own fucking food if they want. So my mom loves lottery tickets, so I'm always buying her lottery tickets. Like, I'll go over there with like $40 worth of scratch-offs. I'm like, hey, you got to fucking scratch them, have fun. And then my dad's not really into anything. He's into like a lot of things, but he's just really just slowed down. He's just on the couch all the time watching Netflix. He doesn't do a whole lot, but we're on that golf league, and my sand wedge is deadly, and he doesn't have a sand wedge. So at 100 yards out, dude, on the green almost 85% of the time, like drop it right on there with my sand wedge. I think it's like a 56 angle or something, but I bought him a sand wedge. Just like he has Wilson clubs or some shit. He has this old Wilson driver. He uses like the head of the Wilson clubs, like those old wooden things, and he'll use that on par threes. And if he makes great contact, it's usually really, really a nice shot. But he's always like towing them off the end and duffing them. He likes to use that club. I don't know. I tell him not to. But anyway, so I bought him a Wilson sand wedge for a Father's Day gift, and it's gonna show up at their house tomorrow. And Golf League is tomorrow on Monday and Juneteenth, actually. But I'm not able to go because I'm going to go see that band Country Westerns in Pittsburgh. And I had booked this thing and bought tickets a long time ago and then forgot that Monday was Golf League. So now he has to go out on his own and find a partner. So I'm hoping the golf club arrives before he goes out and he can experiment. Not really what you want to do is experiment with a new club during the first round of whatever he's doing with a partner. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about buying him a golf club because it's like one of the only substantial real gifts I've gotten either of my parents in a long time because they have everything they want, anything they can use. You know what I mean? Buying for parents is kind of tough. So I don't know. He could use a sand wedge. So whether or not he'll actually use it is up to him to figure out. But
I think it's generally more about just like spending time with them, and whatever you do is like showing that you pay attention.
Fuck that.
I don't think it even necessarily matters what it is or how much money you spend.
No, it's not really that. No, but it's like you feel like my parents they're so supportive. You know, they're always at our gigs. They're always like watching our dog. And it's like you kind of always, you want to do something nice for them. You know what I mean? But it's hard to do something nice for people who already have everything they possibly could want or need. So it gets into the area of like, you got to be thoughtful. I'm not a thoughtful person. That's why we throw a family get together for Father's Day every year. We get everybody together. We make all the food. We supply all the, fixins and everything, and just spend time with our dads. Yeah. Like that seems to be the best way. Oh yeah, I went over there and we watched the Pirate game today. We didn't finish it because he fell asleep and I just left because he's pushing 70 at this point. So I think he's 69 years old. But yeah. So anyways, the Buccos were winning. It was like seventh inning. My mom was like, "If you want to go, you can just go." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really tired, so I got to do some show notes and stuff." And he's passed out. I'm not gonna wake him up. So. Anyways, yeah, so, we do that too. We spend some time together for sure, but I want to get him a little something, so that's what I did. So I'm doing all right, Jake. This weather's awesome. I haven't been on the bike nearly as much as I want to be, but we're not really here to talk about our personal lives, although the listeners care so much. I want to talk about video games. We'll get into... I'm going to give you an opportunity before we get into the news. So after listeners' feedback and right before the news, if you have any commentary about Summer Games Fest that you didn't get to talk about, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. But let's talk about games we're currently playing. That's usually the first thing that we do on the show after we kind of get our introduction out of the way. So when I talked to you last night or 2 days ago or whatever, I can't remember. Dude, like, I actually have done a lot on games that it's just drawn a blank when I talked with you. But so I finally beat the Yuffie DLC. I did that, got through it. Felt really good to delete Final Fantasy VII Remake off my PS5. I'll tell you this, there's no better feeling than deleting a game off your PS5 after you've beaten it. It's just like, I can't stand looking at it and feeling that like I can't play anything else until I beat this thing, right? And it's just how my brain works. Sometimes I'll do a little cross gaming, play different games at the same time period, but I always feel drawn to finish whatever movement I've started in a game. And then, you know, you either have to commit to beating it or just delete it so it's not staring at you, and just you'll play it another day. So anyways, I beat the Yuffie DLC, a game that I purchased, and we're going to get to our wish list real quick, our PSN wish list, or maybe some games that you want to pick up that you haven't picked up yet, Jake, because I know you said you don't use the wish list. But what game that had been on my wish list for a long time was Ghosts and Goblins Resurrected, or is it Resurrection? I don't recall. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ghosts and Goblins it's Resurrection. Sorry. And this is a highly rated game. It's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, an 8 out of 10 on IGN, and it was developed and published by Capcom, and originally came out on the Switch. And it's actually the 8th Ghosts and Goblins game, and it came out in February of 2021. So it was a celebration of the 35th anniversary of Ghosts and Goblins. So if you don't know, Ghosts and Goblins always had this really cool medieval aesthetic, and like it was like it's notoriously one of the most difficult side-scrolling games. It's like a Mega Man kind of game. It's not. It's definitely not a Metroidvania game. It's you move from the left of the screen, and when you get to the end of the right of the screen, you're through the level. And of course, you know it's not just the width of the screen. You go and you go and you go till you get to the end. There's always a boss battle at the end. These games are notoriously fucking hard, man. And I forgot how hard these games were. But I was drawn by the art direction, and I was drawn by just the nostalgia, and it had been on my wish list for at least a year and a half, and it was on sale for half off. So I got it for $15, and which I think is a fine price. The game was great. I will say a game like this though, it has to be like the gameplay, it's true to the original. And I will say that the original, I feel, did it terribly. Like when you run as you're a knight, right? You're a knight and you have like 3 or 4 layers of armor on. You have your helmet, your chest armor, your leg armor. And the listeners may remember if you've ever seen this game, but like as you get hit, your armor kind of like shakes off, and at the end, your character Arthur is just left in his boxers. And they have like hearts on them, and like he has like these. He can throw daggers. He can throw knives. What are those javelin things that like the jousting rods that knights sit on horses? Whatever those things are, lances or something. He's got lances he can throw. He can throw up, down, and straight. You can't throw diagonal, but there is a weapon that has a diagonal direction, dude. This game is so fucking hard. Like it's like, you know, like there are games that are meant. So if you're like a Souls-born person, whatever, you like difficulty games, like games that are fucking hard, I challenge you to beat this game on regular difficulty. I challenge you to do it. Tell me how you fare in about a week. This game, honestly, like I consider myself pretty good at side-scrolling games like this. Like Cuphead it was tough, but it wasn't like, it didn't leave you feeling like it was unbeatable. This game, I think it was created to fuck with you. like just as soon as you think you know a pattern and you're like, okay, I got to figure it out, and you go back to it, they reverse shit on you. And it's like they try to piss you off and kill you. The original Ghosts and Goblins was an arcade game, and it was a quarter eater, right? But anyways, that being said, they've implemented some quality of life pieces to this game. First being what they call a metronome, which on your first playthrough, you have the option to go to the settings menu and take the metronome on regular speed, which plays the music at the regular speed, or back it up a little bit, and it just slows everything down. It doesn't give you more health. It doesn't give the bad guys less health. It doesn't, buff anything. It just slows the frenetic gameplay down enough that your reaction times are more fair. And I did have to bust this out a couple times to beat some people, but I did beat the game, and it's deleted already. Fucking beat it, played it, it's off my list. Dude, I really want a listener to fucking play this game because, like, unless you play it, it doesn't look difficult. Like, if you look at gameplay video, it doesn't look that tough. But he runs, and his legs, like, flip out like this when he runs. And when you jump, it's not super fucking accurate. Like, it feels wonky. Like, it doesn't feel good. But that's like, they could have made that better, but it feels exactly like the first Ghosts and Goblins. So, like, they give you some quality of life shit, and then there are difficulty levels where in the original there wasn't. I just played it on the second easiest difficulty. There's 4 difficulties. So there's, like, page, something, then it's, like, maybe night, and then, like, warrior mode. So, anyways, long story short, I really enjoyed it, dude, but I'm so happy to be done with it. I don't know how long it took me to beat it, but I challenge anyone to sit down and have the patience to actually beat it. I don't think that it's impossible, but it requires a certain amount of fucking, like, I'm not going to throw my controller patience. That's all. And then I did download and I downloaded Beat Saber, which I will say that was a spur of the moment thing today. I've never played this game until just today. Fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, everything people say. Have you tried this game yet? Beat Saber?
No, but it looks like it's something that I would really like.
It's absolutely amazing. It's so good. It's so good. Can't wait to hop back into that. And then I did jump back into Cyberpunk 2077, Jake. Continued my story a little bit. Man, this game now on the PS5 is like a piece of art. Now, I understand that the DLC that's coming out, the Phantom Liberty stuff, is coming with some quality of life improvements to this game, including fixing and updating the AI and, like, the police and how they interact and stuff. But as a whole right now, the game is so fucking good. Like, it's so good. It's going to be better here in a month or two, I'd imagine, when they release that. And you don't have to buy the DLC to get the quality of life update. It's just going to roll out in a patch. And then I did delete my Metro Exodus download. I just don't have it in me to play that at the moment. And then I played and beat the Final Fantasy 16 demo, and I have opinions on that. So I have been doing some gaming, surprisingly. So that's where Fred's at. Jake, what about you?
So Gosh, I don't even know. I beat the Yuffie DLC. Then I was playing Mario for a bit.
Mario?
Yeah. And then when I got back from Nashville, I got Diablo 4. So that's what I've been playing mostly.
All right.
I wanted to check out the Lies of P demo, but I never got to it. And then I didn't even know the Final Fantasy 16 had a demo. I wouldn't mind checking that out just for something to try it out, see if it's something that might be in my wheelhouse. But yeah, I've been basically just playing. I haven't had a ton of time. I didn't game at all last weekend because I was out of town, obviously, and so I think. What do I want to say? I'm pretty sure that the only thing that I've really played this week is I also checked out. So yeah, I've been playing Diablo 4. I like it. It's my experience with it is better than it was whenever I had played the beta or whatever. But it's still basically the same game. They didn't really overhaul anything. And then I bought a new DualSense 5 or DualSense because my other one, the X button, fucking broke on it. So I might just bust that thing apart and see if I can figure out why the X button's not working. But because I have nothing to lose at this point. But other than that, on my PC, I played I played a little bit of the demo for the System Shock remake.
Weird.
It is happening.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know I've been interested in it, but I didn't even know that there was a demo out. And then I found out that there was a demo, so I was like, oh fuck, I've got a PC that can run that, so I'm going to download it. And it's interesting. It is coming to PlayStation, but it's not. Even though System Shock is technically sort of the genesis of stuff like BioShock and further, it's not. It's a little bit different. So that was kind of interesting. It seems a little single A to me, not like a super triple A experience. I don't know how much of it is original assets, how much of it is remade assets, but it seems all right. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's just kind of playing Diablo, and I'll probably be there for a bit, I'm assuming.
Yeah, very good. My brother picked up Diablo 4. He said that it has couch co-op, and he's been doing that. It does,
yeah.
He's been doing that and enjoying that, so interesting. Yeah, dude, I don't even know. Like, it's another one of those games that, like, seems really interesting to me, but I just don't know that I can do it right now. I didn't really get sucked into Diablo 3, although I own it.
I will admit there are two big issues with Diablo 4. One of them, and this seems to be the biggest hang-up people have with the game, especially seasoned Diablo players, is the level scaling. And because no previous Diablo game had this. So basically, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, all of the enemies are the same level as you. So you never get to achieve that feeling of just being a fucking boss and just destroying everyone without taking any damage.
So like even if you go to like old dungeons?
Yeah, like it's all, everything that you encounter is the same level as you, or within like one or two levels. So there's no like, I don't know. It's kind of like Destiny in that fashion. It's not like the old days where in like the old Diablo games, once you got to level 70 and you're like owning and stuff, you had to make the game harder by going into higher world tiers. Whereas in this, even in the lower world tiers, everything is the same fucking level as you. So I don't understand what the whole point of the higher, like the world tiers are, except for it does make the enemies harder. It does give you more loot and blah, 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 blah. But you can't like go to easy mode and just run like wreck shop if you want to, which to me is kind of stupid because I always enjoyed that aspect of RPGs is like, hey, I really fucking struggled through this. I did my due diligence. I paid in my blood and my sweat, and now I'm fucking a machine. I want to be able to go back and just own all these dudes that were giving me problems before, but you can't do that. And I think it's specifically because of this always online nature of it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I don't like about it is that because it's always online, you are beholden to things like online queues and if there's any kind of lag or anything like that in the game. Like there's been a few times where I've gone to like do a thing and I walk into an area and like the marker is on the screen like you need to go here to do this thing, and I'm standing there and literally nothing is happening, and it's because the game is lagging and hasn't like loaded in that stuff yet, and it's because it's all fucking online.
Yeah.
Or like I go to exit the game and it takes forever to exit because it can't communicate with the server fast enough to save all my shit. And it's just like, you really couldn't make this a mostly native game and then just like serve the online elements. You had to have the whole fucking thing basically be online.
They probably
like that,
did for some reason, but yeah, I hear you.
I'm sure that they did, but to me it's like, fuck, man. I would, like, if I paid $70 for Diablo 4, if they were like, for $100 you can get this game and be able to play it 100% offline if you want to, I'd pay the extra fucking $30 every day of the week just to be able to play it offline. Like, I know that's fucking stupid. I shouldn't have to do that. But, and maybe like one of the other things is that maybe if it wasn't always online, maybe the game would be a lot larger on your hard drive and stuff. I don't know, but to me, it's not a game breaking or a deal breaking experience for me, but it's definitely that, and the level scaling alone make this game worse than Diablo 2 and 3. But that, and like they fucked with some shit with like how the gems work, and like how the axe and everything, there's no like static like axe where you go from world to world. It's like everything is in one fucking map, and like all of the act missions are just on the fucking map, and you can go do them whenever you want. It's like the Division or some shit. Like, I don't feel like I can't get immersed into it because it's like, oh, it's just all this shit is here, and I just like do it in whatever order I want. There's no like, there's no like toll gates where I'm completing a section and then, oh, I'm in a new, because that was one of the best things about Diablo 2 and 3 is finishing an act and getting to that next town, that next like whole new map that was it was a completely different biome. It was completely different sets of enemies. It was different fucking towns, different merchants, different everything. And in this, it's just like, nope, this is the map. This is the one map. You're just here forever. And all of the missions that you're doing are on this one map. You may have to trigger this, that, or whatever by doing things in a specific sequence, but there's nothing like, you're not like getting to the new level. Like, I don't know. Like that aspect of it maybe, and this is one of these things that I'm afraid of, is dying with these live service games. Like, everything is just a persistent world at all times. There's no even like semblance of linearity to any of it. Like, I loved, one of the coolest things about beating a world in Mario was getting to that next world. And I was like, oh, like in Mario 3, when you would get to the next world and it's the fucking giant world and like all the enemies are giant, you're like, whoa, this is fucking wild. It's completely different. And like, you almost anticipate that. And like in Diablo, it was like playing to get to the next act, see the next town, see the next dope ass cutscene. And in this, it's just like, I don't know, they just puke all the missions onto a map and see what happens. So, but other than, I mean, I am really enjoying it. So I'm being a little harsh, but I am definitely pining for days of old when it comes to the way that Diablo is built as a game platform. But it's still like gameplay, the moment-to-moment gameplay is still as fun as ever. I
get it. Yeah, man. Cool. Well, I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I'm glad you have opinions on it. You didn't just drink the Kool-Aid and just like, this game's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone that's saying that this is like the best fucking game ever, I'm like the best Diablo game, I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, maybe I'm just being crotchety about like what I'm used to. And sure. Maybe like, maybe objectively it's better, but I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like they sold their soul a little bit to make this game, and it bothers me. So, but does that mean it's a bad game? No. Well, it just means that they it's like you can't buy a stick shift car anymore. Like, you just can't. They don't exist. I mean, you technically can, but like, I can't go buy.
You're not going to walk onto a lot and find one. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I prefer to drive a stick shift, but I can't fucking buy one anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, in this game, I want it to play a certain way, but it's just never, like, games are not going to work that way anymore because of the reliance on the live service.
Right.
So it's kind of like a bummer in that way, I suppose. But all in all, still enjoying it. I think I just broke my desk. Anyway, continue.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Yeah, so very good. We're going to talk about listener feedback, and we have some good listener feedback and a surprise commenter that we're going to get to in a minute. But so the first news point, or the first feedback, comes from Big Box. So Big Box, I appreciate this. This is very entertaining. You have great questions. You kind of give us some fuel when we need it. So Big Box writes, gentlemen, theoretical incoming. You claim the position of gaming emperor, Tsar, dictator via peaceful methods. You are kind and benevolent, but you must issue the gaming industry your first edict. Anyone who disobeys goes straight to jail. What would that edict be and why? For example, mine would be no publisher/developer is allowed to make more than one sequel. Creating a spiritual sequel as a way to circumvent Lord Big Box's edict would result in 10 years hard labor. And then he says, I can't stand it when developers find a formula and milk it to death. Cough. Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, cough. Let's explore the frontier, people. Is there anything the games industry currently suffers from that theoretical unchecked power could solve? P.S. Jake needs to check out the indie game Tape to Tape. I won't spoil it, but it just might thaw his blackened, frozen heart. All right, Big Box. I didn't look into Tape to Tape, but Jake, there you go. There's your first homework assignment from Big Box.
So I will just interrupt you briefly. I have seen Tape to Tape, and it looks fucking amazing. So I actually almost bought this game when I actually just heard about this a week or two ago, and I almost immediately went out and bought it. Because it's like a fucking roguelike, but it's a hockey game, and you're like building a hockey team to like, dude, and you like instead of
so he likes roguelikes when it involves hockey. Sorry, go ahead.
Instead of I didn't say that, but instead of like a card match like in Slay the Spire,
yeah,
you actually play a hockey game against another team to do these particular roguelike battles or whatever, and it's like fucking NHL 94, like top down, like 2D hockey. Like,
I'm looking at images. It looks awesome.
It I watched like a gameplay, like a 40-minute gameplay of someone playing this game.
Yeah.
My interest is piqued. I will admit that, Big Box. I think I might give it a shot at some point. But the jury's still out on the roguelike component to it. I will say that. But I think that otherwise the game looks, from a gameplay perspective, it looks fucking cool. I just don't know if I'll like the roguelike element.
Big Box, I really appreciate your efforts to try to get Jake on board with something like this. Man, leave it to Big Box. I think Big Box is quite the gamer, honestly, based on the write-ins, based on his influence. He's slowly influencing this podcast in a direction where he's
a fucking troll is what he is.
I think he's slowly
I'm just
imparting some wisdom. I mean, it could be Yamir Yager. We still don't know.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So,
that's why he likes Tape to Tape. I got a jersey you got to sign, my dude. Anyway, regarding his question though,
yeah.
and
I'll let you go first. You go first.
My edict. My prime edict would be something that would lay waste to all of these terrible fucking games that we're getting. And
that's so broad.
I don't know,
what kind of games? Like, what do you mean?
So when I say terrible, I don't mean like, oh, this isn't like, I'm not going to fucking, ban roguelikes or something like that. But like,
do you mean like the games like Pet the Cactus, like that kind of shit?
Yeah, so like all of those like money grab games, shit like Life of Black Tiger, and then I would as like a we'll call it an amendment drafted into this law would be that if you release a game in the state like Cyberpunk did with PlayStation 4 and all of that, if you're releasing a game that's not just a piece of shit game that should never have been made to begin with, but you just are clearly trying to take advantage of the public, then you should have to relinquish all fucking sales to that game. I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, I understand that if we're being like really serious about this, how do you quantify that? Like, what is a good game versus a bad game? What's an acceptable level of broken? Blah 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 blah. But
no broken. Like, just there's no acceptable level of broken. The game must work as intended.
But every game's gonna have bugs. Every game's gonna have something. So we got to figure out like what is the acceptable level of quote unquote broken. You know, because games are way complicated. You can't expect them to be flawless, but there has to be some kind of contingency for these companies there are these instances where they're very clearly just taking advantage of consumers. Like Cyberpunk is an example, and most recently Redfall is an example, which is on the Xbox side. I know it's not really part of our purview, but it's just not like, it's unacceptable and it should be punishable in some fashion. And I know that's very totalitarian, but since I'm the fucking dictator of gaming, I'm gonna dictate that if you sell people a piece of shit Cyberpunk on PlayStation 4, then I should be able to commandeer every single penny of the sales and give it back to the people that bought it to you. And they should be able to keep the game. Because it's like, in my opinion, with the Cyberpunk stuff or even the Redfall stuff, if they had come out before the game launched and been like, guys, this is pretty fucking broken, but we're doing everything in our power to fix it, just hold on a little bit. We're going to delay the PS5 or PS4 version of the game for a year. Fuck, I don't know. Then it would have been okay. I would have been okay with that. If they would have been like, this version's broken, or said like, hey, you know, made some commitment, or came out before the game launched and said, hey, the PlayStation version, the PS4 version's broken, whatever. That's a different story because they're being transparent.
How many years of hard labor are you going to assign for this if they violate?
Fucking, I don't know. I mean, I don't really think that hard labor is gonna really do anything. I think it's gotta be some finage going on here. We got to take all their money away. Make them
forage for the next 5 years. That's it.
I would say maybe the board members at CDPR, whenever they released Cyberpunk in that way, maybe they need to cut my grass with hand shears for the next 5 years.
That'd be a sight. That'd be a sight.
And I'd have all these, and they'd have to wear their suits while they do it. So I'd be out there in their fucking suits in my yard on their hands and knees cutting my grass with these little hand shears while I spray them with a fucking garden hose. That's going to be what they have.
Yeah, you get to walk out on the lawn with like a nice cold lemonade and just like, you know, criticize their work.
Accidentally spilled in front of them.
Yeah, right. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck those
Very
people.
Good.
Anyway, what about you?
Well, I had two ideas. I believe when I wrote Big Box back on the YouTube channel, I said something to the effect of, I need to see games with no HUDs now. I'm past the HUD moment. Like, make all this shit make this shit intrinsically work. Like Ghost of Tsushima, brilliant. It was nice. Now I'm not gonna make that an edict where you can't. There's got to be some wiggle room. So I'm gonna dial that idea back, but I still think I would. There would be some sort of boon or government payment to game developers who have minimal HUD in their games. Minimal, meaning like maybe 2 things on the HUD or less. You get a bonus payment from the government. For my royalty. So the other that would be like an incentive. The other thing that I was thinking of earlier today while I was thinking about the podcast was like, I am absolutely tired of developers pandering to gamers. So, this is a twofold one. Number one is no more varying difficulties in games. You pick the fucking difficulty you want the game to be played at, and there it is. Like, because as a gamer, dude, I kind of feel like when I notched Ghosts and Goblins into like the metronome thing, give us little things like that, like little ways to maybe make the game easier, but give us a difficulty. Like, and it's the same thing with like endings. Like, I don't want multiple fucking endings. Like, tell me a story. How does it end? You know, like, be a little more decisive about your video game. Don't try to pander to everybody. Have it be your story. Have it be your difficulty. Like, that would be my thing. Like, I'm tired of having to make a decision every game I boot up. I don't know. Is normal going to be too hard for me? Is it going to be too easy at normal? Should I dump it down? Should I make it higher? And then you look at the trophy list, and it's like, if I can get a trophy for playing it at a more difficult, like, fucking level, I want the bragging rights. But then, like, if it's too difficult for me, then, like, I gotta bump it down, and then it's like I ruin the opportunity for this trophy that I may never go back to ever get. It's just, it causes, like, a little bit of, like, I don't want to say anxiety, but, like, just give me one fucking difficulty and be like, this is our game. Play it. I don't know. That's mine for now. I'm tired of, like, for instance, there are games that have 5 different fucking difficulty levels, and then they give you New Game Plus on top of it. And it's just like, can't you just, like, give me the game that you wanted to make? Like, how hard should this game be? Like, if, you know, back in the day with Nintendo and Atari and even Genesis, like, there wasn't difficulty levels. Like, and I wonder how much time goes into development that they have to, like, sit and figure out what do we have to do to make this more difficult? Like, how much extra programming does that take? Are they just giving these bad guys, are they harder to chisel away at their health? Is the time limit a little less for the levels? Like, what makes it to the next echelon of difficult? And it's like, who makes that standard? Who qualifies that? Like, so it's so, I don't know, man. It's so obtuse. And it's just like, just give me a game with fucking just one difficulty level. That's mine. Jake, any opinion on that?
See, I have the opposite opinion, only in that if I would feel worse about modifying the game than I would about adjusting the difficulty. Because if you adjust the difficulty, you still have to do all the things the way that the developer intended you to do them. It's just the overall challenge of the game is less because the enemies have less health or they do less damage or whatever it is. Whereas if it's just like, okay, well, but if I do this modifier, like my attacks crit every single fucking time, and it's like, okay, well, that makes the game easier without saying it's easy, but I'm breaking the fucking game.
But if you can turn the modifier back off after you needed it, right? Like, if it's a boss,
but you could turn it from. But you could do the same thing with the difficulty, right? I mean, that's
some games will let you, some won't, though. So maybe that should be like, you can't. Like, the other thing is, have you ever played a game on a lesser difficulty and then found out that you don't have access to the last level because you played it on a fucking easier mode? And they're like, oh, come back and play it on blah, blah, blah mode to see, how it really ends. Like, that kind of shit needs to fucking end. Like, that happens.
I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, because sometimes they don't tell you. Sometimes you'll beat a game thinking that you beat it, but you actually didn't because you played it on an easier difficulty.
What game does that?
Dude, I'm sure there's a million of them. It happens, man.
Tell me.
Well, you keep talking and I'll find
games it. Games that gate content based on difficulty? That seems kind of crazy. I mean, if it's true, that's crazy.
Here we go. 10 games you can only beat on normal mode. Some games are meant to be played on a casual afternoon as they evoke rather calming. This is on the gamer. Relaxing vibe. These are not those type of games. Though adjustable difficulty settings are a rather new concept in the gaming world, it is important to note that they have truly changed the ways in which we play games. It says here, Cuphead. It says if you're into challenging games that still offer a reasonable learning curve, then you need to give Cuphead a try. Though pretty difficult in the beginning, but as you get the hang of things, it gets fairly easy. However, the normal mode is truly nothing compared to the harder modes in which one can play the game. It's brutal and makes you... Okay, let me see. Though hard but not impossible to beat on normal mode, the difficult mode will have players needing to put their controllers down. Okay, that doesn't say anything. Hold on. I know these games exist. Hold on. I've played these games for sure. You don't get a true ending.
But I would say my bigger issue with it is that it's gating new players away from some of these experiences, which I don't know if I think I mentioned it on the podcast before, but Sarah played Hogwarts Legacy and she's not a gamer. She can't do fucking camera controls for shit. She doesn't know how to use twin sticks. And she was able to play Hogwarts Legacy because they have that story mode, which is like basically baby mode that enemies only attack you one at a time. It's really hard to die, all this kind of stuff. And because she was able to play it on that, she got better, and then she bumped up the difficulty and started, to easy mode, and then she was able to kind of learn a little bit more. And then she bumped it up to normal and was actually playing it on normal for a bit. But she would have never got there if she put it on normal right away and was just struggling the whole time because she had no way to experience that IP without really struggling from the controls front. But that's really my only kind of pushback about it. Because, I mean, ultimately, I am okay with everything just having one difficulty, but I am an experienced gamer. I would say that the only time that, I really have a problem with it is, I really want to move on to the next game, and because I have limited time, and it's like, fuck, I just want to blast through this part real quick so that I can get out of here and get to something new. But that's mostly just me being kind of whiny about the game, not because I can't do it.
Dude.
But there are people that literally cannot play these games because they're new. They don't understand the controls. Twin sticks are fucking hard to learn if you've never done it before. So that's really my biggest pushback about it.
This is a thing. I can't find anyone listing the game titles. But there are forum titles that say endings locked behind difficulty are bullshit. And this is a real thing that happens in games and people don't know it's real. Here, you won't see Shadow of the Beast true ending in easy mode. There's a game. It says you have to master higher difficulty levels to get the true ending. How to get the true ending in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know what that means, but I don't think they locked that behind of a thing. But let me see here. Sonic Frontiers Guide. Note, you don't have to beat the whole game on hard mode to experience the harder variant of the fight. You only have to enter. So, the thing that pisses me off is, when you rework the game itself to reward players for playing it in a more difficult mode, I think that's bullshit.
I think that the problem is when you legislate against this, you're making a law for literally fucking 0.0001% of games.
It would make the world a better place. All right, this is the listener's assignment. Find a game that I'm talking about. I know these are out there, and you've probably played them, and you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Let me know. I don't want a game that's some fucking obscure PC. I'll take any game title. Give me a fucking game title.
I want to know a game that people actually want to play that has this problem.
All right. Well, fuck it. Let's get on to the news, man. No, we got more questions or more listener feedback. So J1 writes in real quick. The big stalker guy in all Resident Evil 2 games is Mr. X. A tyrant in disguise is Mr. X. Is Mr. X A? Is Mr. X? I'm confused by that. Hold on. The big stalker guy in all Resident Evil 2 games is Mr. X. Oh, a tyrant in disguise is Mr. X. Okay, gotcha. All right. Thank you, J1. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. That's not the first time I've forgotten his name on the show. And then we have a random listener, new listener to the show, Jacob Peters, writes in. He says, listening to you waffle about what games developers are called makes me want to die. LJ did great, though. LJ did do great. And yeah, dude, that's not my expertise on the show, knowing all this fancy pants, highfalutin bullshit. I just want to talk about games and my feelings about games. I keep the show moving, Jake. You're the sound piece. You're the guy who knows all the shit. And
the fucking color commentator over here.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, dude. I'm the entertainment, and you're the source. I don't know what that means. I don't know. You're the encyclopedia. I'm just the mouthpiece for the show. All right. So anyway,
I will say I did listen to your guys' podcast last week.
Yeah.
And just because I was curious how LJ did and what you guys had to say about the Game Awards. And it was pretty interesting. But I did find something pretty interesting about how he was talking about Destiny and how he's started playing it. And I think that Destiny has a really, really big problem. And it's what he's exactly saying. It's
not knowing what the fuck's going on. Yeah.
For new people to start it. They have no idea what the hell is going on. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing these missions. It's fun to shoot. I love running around and
I don't know where I need to go.
I like playing it, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. I have no idea. Who knows what the hell the story's about? I don't know. Some fucking big ball in the sky gave me some magical powers and a little baby robot.
You don't even understand what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did do a pretty good job last week.
Good little stand-in, LJ. I appreciated you doing that. Yeah, and thanks for taking time out of your day, dude. I'm sure you're listening to this at some point, maybe not right away, but that meant a lot to us, so thanks. And like I said, Jake, on when I was talking to him, like he's always welcome to jump in anytime he wants. We could do a 3-person podcast if he's feeling frosty and has something that he really wants to talk about. I've opened that door for him since that was his 3rd time on the show. If he ever wants to jump in and discuss something, maybe like when the new fucking Uncharted game gets announced or something.
I'm going to fucking haze him if he gets on the show with me.
Why would you do that? You should. Just give him a hard time. Yeah. All right. Well, dude, let's get to the news here. And the first news point that I have, and then we're going to get to our wish list here in a second. There's not a lot of news points, but Final Fantasy 16, despite the file size already weighing in at over 90 gigabytes, it was rumored the game was going to be even larger. Only within the last 6 months was Square Enix able to reduce the file size enough to fit on one disc. The developer was planning on releasing this title on 2 discs, much like they are for Rebirth. I almost said fucking Afterbirth. Obviously, this is where digital downloads come into play. And that's a lot of bandwidth, man. 90 gigabytes for a down. I mean, it's not the largest we've seen by any stretch. I mean, we've seen games larger than 90, I believe. Like, I think some Modern Warfare shit is pretty big. But so that's nice. They were able to crunch it down to 90.1 gigabytes, I believe, is the download size. And speaking of the game, the latest Japanese commercial for this game, the PR train has started, is really interesting, man. The tone is really weird. It comes across like really serious and almost like Catholic or religious with like the imagery. It's like old paintings that are like the colors are kind of swarming and stuff. And it has like this choir in the background, like, oh, and it's just like these scenes of people like being crucified and like fucking like weird ass imagery. And then it cuts to gameplay. But it's a really odd but pretty commercial. And then lastly about this game, the game is getting a small day one patch after all the hullabaloo about it being ready to go. It's not going to fucking get a patch. Square's come out and they've pretty much said, sorry about this, but it's only going to be 300 megabytes. And it's going to correct a minor progression issue they found in the game, some errors with text, and a bug which can possibly close the game down in a very specific scenario. So the patch also promises a more consistent frame rate. This is probably all shit they're finding maybe from the playthroughs of the demo. I don't know what they're hearing from people, but those are really pretty minor things unless shutting the game down happened all the time. on a certain thing, but it sounds like it's a very specific, probably like if you have 16 potions and 5 Phoenix Downs and you're carrying the armband of leather, jerkin or something, on this quest and so in your party has 28 hit points, then it shuts it down. Like, it's probably some fucking weird thing like that, but they're saying it's a super rare situation, but good thing they're correcting it. So it's nice when they come out and they take a hard stance like that. Like, we're done with this fucking game. And then they identified some errors that they're actually like, here's 300 megabytes of a patch. We fixed some shit we found. So I'd rather have it than not have it. So actually props to them for doing that. Jake, anything about any of this Final Fantasy 16 shit?
The one thing I will say is that I am pretty stoked about the fact that Square Enix seems committed to making sure the entire game is on the disc that they sell you for physical releases. Because they could very easily just release a single disc with like
a download license,
a fucking code on it, like a lot of these other companies are doing. But they're not doing that. They're saying, oh, it was gonna be 2 discs. We were gonna release it on 2 discs so that you had everything, but we were able to get it down to 1 disc. So that to me is it's pretty nice, because I personally kind of think that it's about time that the physical disc media dies, personally. But if they're going to have it, it should have the whole fucking game on it.
That should be your edict.
And yeah, that should be a fucking edict. So like,
let's start writing.
I know there are all these arguments about like people wanting to collect their little box and have it on their shelf and all this stuff, but you're literally buying a useless piece of plastic and paper without the fucking game installed on or burned onto it. So I'm really happy to see that they're doing this.
Very good. Very cool. Very cool. All right, next news point, Mr. Peters. At 57 minutes and 12 seconds, Dan Houser, who had recently left Rockstar Games, he was one of the main writers, one of the main dudes at Rockstar, has finally announced his new studio. The studio is called Absurd Ventures, and they put out a teaser trailer to promote their new studio. And their focus will be creating original IP for all platforms and formats. And they aren't just a video game studio, though. They also aim to do books, graphic novels, podcasts, live action series, and other forms of media. And you can find more about them at Absurd Adventures. absurdadventures.com, even though I think they're called Absurd Ventures. Weird. What the hell is the it says briefly on is it Absurd Ventures? It might be absurdventures.com. I'm going to tell you in a second. Nah, I don't know. It must be Absurd Adventures. I don't know. Anyways, go look it up. Dan Houser, new studio. That's all you got to do. I don't really have anything else to say about that, except now we know, what he's doing. So, anything on that, Jake? You want to keep moving?
Nope.
All right.
Push it along.
All right, let's push it on. The next news point is MIHOYO, or MIHOYO. This is the game developer of the beloved gacha title Genshin Impact and the newly released Honkai Star Rail. They apparently profited $2.25 billion in 2022 off these games. Now, Push Square has an article that indicates this destroys Sony's reported overall revenue of $1.84 billion. And MIHOYO had revenue of almost $4 billion in 2022. That's not profit, that's revenue. So almost $4 billion in 2022. So this is exactly why Sony's aiming to get a games as service game that really hits with people. This studio has 2 games, one recently released, Honkai Star Rail, which is coming later this year, but Genshin Impact has quite the fucking following, and they serve this game, and the players, they're on this shit. Like, they know what they're doing, and they've made a ton of money on this game. And it's a good game from what I understand, obviously. It's got to be a good game for people to jump onto it, but have you ever played Genshin Impact, Jake? Did you play this at all?
Yeah, I played it a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't really jive with me, but I can understand why people like it based on what I played.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to move on then. That's a lot of money. Good job, fellers, ladies, and germs. And I mentioned Cyberpunk 2077 earlier because I jumped back into this game, and I can't reiterate enough how much Cyberpunk 2077, the DLC, looks like amazing. The Phantom Liberty. It's a shame we didn't get our song in there. But I mean, after I got back into Cyberpunk 2077, like I said, this game, Jake, I really think it's probably one of the better release. Not in the state it was released, but now looking backwards with what we have now, this game is probably honestly one of the better releases we've had in the last couple years. And it's really a shame what CD Projekt Red did to this game. It's such a travesty because the game is really good. I'm playing it on PS5. It's running at 60, well, close to at least. And then when you switch it to, whatever graphic setting or fidelity mode or whatever, it is fucking beautiful. Now it runs at 30, maybe even a little slower, but goddamn, the streets are populated now. Shit's not crashing every 10 seconds. The voice acting is so good. There's tons of side missions. The weapon's interesting. The world's interesting. The one thing that I still don't like about it is like the police interference, like the way they get involved. That needs updated, and hopefully they get that corrected here at this new patch coming. And I hate the way that the vehicles fucking feel when you drive them. It's like you're on fucking ice. Like, so you're just sliding around in these fucking vehicles. Like, I don't know why they can't give them some weight or something. Like, they just feel either clunky and slow, but like, it's like, I don't want a racing sim in my game. Like, I just want the cars to feel like GTA.
Yeah, just make it fucking drive like Grand Theft Auto. I don't understand why they're like what they're doing with it. It is really kind of bizarre.
And they're including vehicular.
How bad it feels.
Yeah, they're including vehicular combat in the new DLC. So maybe fixing the vehicle shit is coming. But I'm telling you, man, this game is top tier. It's fucking top tier. Oh my God, it's so good. I wasn't even I played it a little bit today. I was like, I don't know. It's like either I delete it, so I'm not looking at it. But then I know Phantom Liberty's coming out. I'm like, I'm just going to fucking jump in and see if I remember the controls. The thing that pisses me off about Cyberpunk 2077 right now, so like, you can drive by a crime in progress and see like an officer duking it out with gang members. And I believe what the game wants you to be able to do is jump in and help the officer out and be good. Like, you shoot the enemies, right? I jumped in and shot the enemies, and I became wanted. They were in a firefight with a police officer, and I came to his defense and got a wanted sign for it. And it's like, this is bullshit. So there are things like that still really piss me off about this game. But the majority of things in this game have been corrected, and I think this fix is coming in the new update, the new patch. But have to rate it as it is right now, but I still think it's one of the best releases we've gotten in the last couple of years. I mean, of course, you're going up against God of War and all these games, but like, this game is good. It's a good game. If you haven't played it, now's the time to do it if you have a PS5, or maybe wait till the DLC comes out. Anyways, that's my opinion on that. Jake, you played and beat Cyberpunk, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm stoked for the DLC. Unfortunately, it's coming at a really bad time, so I probably won't play it, at least not right away. But I'm really excited about it for sure.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It takes place in a brand new area. It's not Night City. It's somewhere else. So
yeah,
it's they're giving you a lot of game. All right, the next news point. Embracer Group has apparently news hit that they're undergoing some major restructuring. My guess is most likely due to biting off more than they can chew. The restructuring is going to include layoffs, closings, cancellations of games. Crystal Dynamics has come out and they put a tweet out. They put a message out to the public, front-facing, saying that this recent news from Embracer Group will have no impact to continuing efforts with their partners, the initiative, on Perfect Dark, or to the next Tomb Raider title being developed in collaboration with Amazon Games. So those games are not going to be affected per Crystal Dynamics, which is fine. It's good news. I'm ready for a new action adventure like Tomb Raider or Uncharted. I really want one. So it's good news. What is this Perfect Dark game? Do you know what that is?
Perfect Dark was an Xbox game.
Okay.
The Initiative is an Xbox studio.
Okay.
So Crystal Dynamics is working with them on a remake of Perfect Dark.
Do you think the Tomb Raider title is going to be exclusive to Xbox?
No, I mean, Crystal Dynamics isn't an Xbox studio. So my guess is that because Embracer owns them, that'll probably be multi-platform. I don't know why it wouldn't be,
All right.
given the problems they had with the second Tomb Raider game on Xbox with exclusivity. But I don't know. Anything's possible.
Yeah, that is true. This news point comes way of the Capcom showcase, which there really wasn't a ton to talk about on that. So this is the only thing that was really a takeaway, and it's not even really a surprise. That title, Pragmata, made an appearance, and people got kind of stoked. And the little girl's like drawing on a fucking piece of paper. And then there's like this astronaut guy's like, hey, we gotta go. And he picks her up, and the paper goes flying. And then they leave the scene. He's shooting his gun, and this paper kind of just does like the feather thing, like in Forrest Gump, and then it falls and hits the ground. And it just said 2022 scribbled out, 2023 scribbled out, dash, question mark, and the girl's writing very sorry. And then it came up with a screen that just said that like they're apologizing and they're just fucking sorry, the game's not ready, yada yada yada. And it's just like, why do people fucking announce games when they clearly have nothing?
I don't know that they had nothing so much as that maybe they got in way over their heads. It's like, I don't know. This is Capcom, so I'm hoping, given the success of their games the last couple of years, that it's going to end up good. But I'm getting serious Deep Down vibes with this game, and I hope that that's not the case, because Deep Down never ever came out. So, and that was also Capcom. So we'll have to see. It looks intriguing. I like what I saw, but what the hell does this game mean? I have no idea. I assume it's some kind of like, third person shooter maybe, but you have like this girl with you that's like a sidekick that can like.
She has special powers.
Or something, almost like a BioShock Infinite kind of vibe or something like that. I don't know. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It doesn't sound like this game's coming out for a while. So yeah,
definitely not coming out this year. Definitely didn't come out last year, and probably isn't coming out in 2024. So we're going to have to wait around a little more longer. And speaking of waiting around a little longer for video games, this fellow, Matt Booty is his last name for real. He's
the head of Xbox Game Studios,
which is hilarious. I love the name. He did this. So we had Jake, you and I had a discussion about 2 episodes ago. It was brought up. I believe Big Box brought this up. Maybe J1 brought it up. I think it was Big Box. Talking about, and the listeners can go back and listen to it. I think this is 181. I think it was 179. That gamers maybe don't have a realistic expectation any longer for how long it actually takes to make a big budget game. So this is very on point with our discussion. There's a nice article on Push Square that cites an interview or some information that Matt Booty from Microsoft had at Axios.com. And he said that, quote, I think that the industry and the fans were a little behind the curve on sort of a reset to understand games aren't 2 or 3 years anymore. And then he goes on saying, there are higher expectations. The level of fidelity that we're able to deliver just goes up. And then he did indicate in the newsletter on Axios.com that games simply have longer development cycles for big budget titles. He said it could be 4, 5, even 6 years to make a game. Now, it is indicated that the reason why it's taking longer is because of the complexity of modern games, in addition to meeting current graphic standards that gamers expect. So now this is clearly in reference to AAA budgets, AAA games. And the expectation to have these big fucking God of War games. But he does go on to say that games continue to get more ambitious as an art form, which I don't disagree with that. I think that the bar continuously gets raised. And that's good for everybody, but that just means that it's going to take longer to make these games, these super epic games, right, that people want. But, you know, you still get your Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection titles, and you still get your fucking AA, your single A, like you said, Jake, System Shock remake and shit. You're getting your Capcom shit. Like, they can turn around a Resident Evil game remake pretty quick. You're going to still get games, but I think these original IP AAA fucking titles, yeah, man. I mean, if the company is going to invest, God, I don't know, $20 million, $30 million in a game, they might as well invest 50, 60, 70 just to make sure they're going to get their money back. Like, and it's like these
AAA games that he's talking about cost a lot more than that.
Sure.
But,
but like, if you're going to invest a certain amount, you might as well just go all in and put the proper time into it. You know what I mean?
My biggest problem with what Matt Booty is saying is, like, anybody with half of a brain that is into video games kind of understands what he's saying. The problem is that Microsoft specifically is announcing these like a year into development, and then it takes 4 to 6 years to come out, and people are getting pissed off as to why is it taking so long. Maybe you shouldn't have announced your game so early.
It's the same shit with Pragmata.
That's part of it.
It's the same shit with Capcom and Pragmata. Yeah. The exact same. Like, why? Like, we just made this comment. Like, why are game developers announcing these games so far in advance? I guess they want to have the optics.
It's bad juju.
I guess they just want the optics, though. That like, they don't want people to think they're not doing anything. I mean, I'm sure they're.
I think that the mystery is better. I mean, look at Sony.
Look at Ben, dude. We don't know what Ben's up to. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, let's digress on that. But so the last news point before we get into our PSN wish list, which I really want to run through that pretty quick, is there's a game for VR 2 coming out. And I've noticed more and more games coming out on PSVR 2, which kind of got me to buy the Beat Saber, which isn't the Beat Saber. It's not like an old man. But that was an older game. But I'm really enjoying that. It's so smooth. It's so tracks perfectly. It's crazy. But this game called Phasmaphobia, it's an online co-op game where you literally take the role of just regular human beings going into haunted, scary places, and you hunt for real, quote unquote, real ghosts. They have 10 different locations. I checked out this trailer, and to me, it doesn't seem that fucking scary. Now, I'm terrified of ghost stuff. Like in real life, like, dude, I'm such a scared baby. Like, I don't like to be in complete darkness. I always think that there's some sort of entity in a room, like, watching me and shit. I get the heebie-jeebies, which is probably why I love horror games, because they really affect me. But this trailer doesn't seem scary because they're like really leaning into like, oh, it's a child talking in the background. It's like, okay, that's not fucking scary. What would be scary is just giving you little nuggets of weird fucking shit like in Blair Witch. Like, send me into a room where everything's normal for the first 20 fucking minutes, and I'm just walking around looking, and all of a fucking sudden you hear something down the hallway. That is scary. In VR, that's frightening.
I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that my sister-in-law is super into this game. I think she plays it with like her friends.
In VR?
And they just play it on Steam. And like her and her friends like will play this for hours, and they'll like stream on Twitch and all this shit. I'll have to ask her about it because I don't know if it's ever been in VR before. Has it been in VR before?
I don't think so. Unless it's in VR for Oculus or something, but it doesn't seem scary to me. Like, to me, like, when I know you're trying to scare me is when I'm not scared. It's just like, okay, I get it. Okay, the fucking needle's going to move on my little detector. Okay, must be here. But like in VR, maybe it is actually really scary. You know what I mean? Like on a flat screen, it doesn't look scary to me, and the trailer doesn't seem like super scary. But like I can imagine like if you're like in a house in co-op in VR, and you're fucking downstairs with walkie-talkies, and we're talking like, dude, I'm in the fucking bedroom, man. I hear some shit. You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't hear anything. And then like you hear like a thud or something, like, you know, oh shit, that could be fucking wild, man. Because we would feed off of each other's fear. We go, oh shit, it's down here. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh fuck, you know. And I start running, doors start shutting and shit. That would be awesome. That'd be really fun in VR. But like, I think less is more in these situations to make it more believable. But maybe just being immersed in VR will make it feel that way. I don't know. It seems a really neat idea. Is where I'm going with it. It's a neat idea. I don't know if they execute or not. You let me know if whomever.
Yeah, I'll ask her about it.
Whomever you said it was. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, can we get into our quick wish list here? Like, I know, Jake, we talked about this. Did you have a little list?
I have a list of games. I do not use the wish list on PSN, but I have a list of games that would be on it if I did use it.
Okay. So how do you want to do this? I've got I have my wish list right here on my phone. I can just run down my list real quick. It doesn't have to be exhaustive or like super long. I just want to let the listeners know what I've got my eye on right now. Now, some of these have been put on my wish list prior to becoming available on PS Plus Extra or PS Plus Essential. Whew, I got it. I got them in reverse. But so the first one on my list is Resident Evil 4, the remake. Second one, Marvel's Midnight Suns. Third one is Dead Space remake. Fourth one is The Last of Us Part 1. Fifth one, Deliver Us Mars. Fifth one is Pavlov for PSVR 2. Sixth one is Octopath Traveler 2. I don't know why I have Jurassic World Aftermath on here because I have no interest in this game. So I don't know how it got on my wish list. I might have like clicked it while I was falling asleep. Next one was Crossfire Sierra Squad, which looks kind of good on PSVR. Demeo PSVR. I put all the PSVR 2 games on my wish list so when they go on sale, I get a notification. Dark Pictures Switchback VR. $40? No, thank you. But if that goes down, I do want to play that. I don't know how After the Fall got on my wish list either because I don't know what the fuck that is. I really don't know what that is. Did I put that on here? Dude, what is After the Fall? Is that a VR game?
Really familiar.
What, made by Vertigo? Oh, it's a VR 2 game. All right, that's why it's on there.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's why the Jurassic Park game's on there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is coming to PS Plus. Not Essentials, the next level up. So I will be playing that. Jake, you said good things about that game. Awesome. Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number is on my wish list. It's included with my plus. Roller Drome is not included with anything. You get a game trial with premium. The Ascent is on my list. Fist Forged in Shadow Torch is on there. That's been on my list for like a year and a half. I really want to play that game. Dying Light 2 is on there. Sifu is on there. Dreams, because I'm just ever fucking curious about this game, but I will never buy it. I just want it to be like, I thought we got it for free at one point, but it doesn't say that I own it, so I must not download it. Jet the Far Shore is included with what I have. Contra Anniversary Collection. Watch Dogs 2, because I played and beat Watch Dogs 1. This is included. The Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, which has a bunch of like just beat 'em up games. Dead Cells, which is included. Bubble Bobble 4 Friends. The Baron is back. Really want to fucking play that game. And then Breakpoint, Operation Breakpoint, or Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is included. Those are the only games on my wish list. They've been on there for a considerable amount of time. I don't add a lot of games to it. I do when I'm like, oh shit, I got to play that game. But if it's not on there, I'm probably not going to be buying it anytime soon because either the ones that I'm really, really looking at. But Beat Saber wasn't on there and I picked that up today. So I don't know. That's my temporary list right now. That's my actual wish list on the PSN. Now, it doesn't mean those are the only games on my radar, but that's what I put on there. Jake?
Yeah, so some of the games on my list my list is a little bit shorter than yours, but some of them are gonna be games that are games that were on your list. So for example, games that were on your list, I'll put on here Resident Evil 4 Remake, Dead Space Remake are both on my list, as well as Midnight Suns. And then, but in addition to that, I've got that Miasma Chronicles game.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Looks fucking good. Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is on there. The Burning Shores DLC for Horizon Forbidden West.
I should add that.
I have Control on there because I never did play that. I'd like to play it at some point. Final Fantasy Crisis Core Remake or Remastered or whatever the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to that especially after going back through Final Fantasy VII. And then I have Bolt Gun, which is that Warhammer 40K bolt gun. It's like that retro inspired,
yeah, like the Wolfenstein 3D kind of game.
Yeah. And then that game that just came out recently, Nightmare Reaper. I have that on there as well, which is in a similar vein.
Yeah.
And then I don't really have like there are other games that I could talk about that for like Xbox and stuff like that, but I'm not really going to go into it. So that's most of what I have in terms of so I also had Dying Light 2 on there as well, which you had mentioned. I really want to get to that. Trying to think if there's anything else, but that's kind of like a sort of a basic run through for me. I really do want to try that Bolt Gun and that Nightmare Reaper game. Both of those games, they seem right up my alley in terms of like this fucking retro shooter kind of style. And like I mentioned before, Miasma Chronicles looks cool. I guess maybe I should put Tape to Tape on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thanks, Big Box. But honestly, the one on here that I probably am right now, like off the top of my head, the most kind of interested in playing is the Crisis Core Remaster, just because I've never played that game before. And now that I've played through like the remake and everything, I think that it would be as good a time as any over the summer to try and get through that before Rebirth comes out, because there are, if I'm not mistaken, there are like relevant story beats. It's like ancillary stuff, so it's not gonna you're not gonna be lost if you don't play it. But like, there's shit in there that I want to know. You know what I mean? Because just because I love the IP. So, dude, that's basically it for me.
I'm gonna add 3 games: Alan Wake remake.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna add Alien Dark Descent, which is coming out soon, and the new Final Fantasy game. Because after playing the demo, I'm in.
Oh, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And cool. Rebirth is an obvious one. But yeah, so yeah, very good, man. It's kind of interesting to hear what's on your list. If I could give back the time I spent playing Control and just give you my experience, like telepathically or something, and get back my time, I would do that in a heartbeat. That fucking game did not live up to its expectation for me at all.
I'm surprised. I have a hard time believing it's that bad. I'm curious if you feel that way about Control. I'm curious how you'll feel about Alan Wake, because you might not like Alan Wake if you don't like Control. I haven't played Control, but it wouldn't surprise me. They seem tonally similar. So
is the Alan Wake story? Can you follow it?
Kind of.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty fucking wild and weird. And like by the end of it, you're like, I'm not really sure what happened, but it's still interesting.
Huh. Yeah, man, I don't know. Control just...
It doesn't have all of like the reading and shit that Control has. Yeah. Like Control, you have to read, like, my understanding is you have to read like fucking volumes of novels of just shit in the game to really get the whole backstory.
If you value your time, Control is not the game. I'll just say that. Like, it is not the fucking game. That's my personal opinion. It is not the game. Constantly getting lost, constantly not knowing where the fuck I need to go, not knowing what's going on. God, it was just like... It makes me feel like I had a fever dream when I played that game, which I could say not many games, if any, have ever made me feel that way. It was fine, just fine as a game with controls and shit, but like, pun intended, but like, dude, it did not sit with me the way it did with a lot of people. Like, I'm really surprised. Usually, I gravitate towards the general opinion on shit. And I know the general opinion on Control is that it's almost a masterpiece. And I was like completely not even close to like that impression. I did a takeaway on this on the YouTube channel, and maybe I'll have to go. I mean, I feel like my impression of Control has gotten worse since I've beaten it. Because I bet you I almost said let's play. My takeaway on it isn't terrible. But I know it wasn't like, oh, this is the fucking bee's knees. You guys, this game's great. It was just like, it is what it is. I'm tempted to go rewatch that video I put together on Control. But anyways, yeah, I would, at this point in my life, I would gladly just let you have that experience over me. Get my however many hours fucking back. You can wipe it off your wish list. Put it back on mine. I'll never play it. Anyways, dude, I don't know. That's enough of me talking about Control. I don't know why I'm so sour about that game. It just fucking rubbed me the wrong way. It's so weird. All right, anyways, enough of me ranting. It might be one of my least favorite games. Like, it's getting there. Like it really it just felt like it was a colossal waste of my fucking time. All right, I got nothing out of it when I beat it. Nothing. I didn't walk away from that game like feeling anything. I don't know. All right. Anyways, new games. Talking about new games. What? 27 to catch so much shit for saying all that. New games. June 13th, Dan Maku Unlimited 3 on PS4, Dordogny on PS5, PS4, and Grey Hill Incident on PS5. June 14th, we're getting Brave Soldier Invasion of Cyborgs on PS5, PS4. We're getting Far World Pioneers on PS5 and PS4. June 15th, we're getting Crime Boss Rockay City on PS5. That game is getting trashed, but it still looks interesting regardless. It has all those famous actors in there. Mickey Rourke in it? No, who's the dude that's in that? He's in like Kill Bill. What the fuck's that guy's name? You know what I'm talking about? Is it Bill from Kill Bill?
No.
Anyways, he's in it, I think. Fall of Porcupine on PS5, PS4. Layers of Fear on PS5. Pixel Rip 1978 on PSVR 2, which looks awesome. Steel Assault PS5, PS4. Urban Flow on PS5, PS4. And Wolf Simulator on PS4. June 16th, we're getting Alchemic Cutie on PS5, PS4. Blackjaw Waifu Tour, PS5. Blackjacks, I said Blackjaw, which sounds way cooler. F1 23, PS5, PS4. Ghost Files, The Face of Guilt on PS5, PS4. Park Beyond on PS5. Steel Assault on PS4. The Fairy Song on PS5, PS4. And XEL Complete Edition on PS4. Dude, that is all I have for today's show. What on that new games list stands out for you, Mr. Peter?
I don't know. Probably that Crime Boss Rockay City game. I know that Layers of Fear game, maybe people are going to be interested in that. But that's about it. I don't know that there's anything else in here that I really... F1 23, although I'm not like, interested really in Formula One. That's a pretty big game, so I'm sure people really like it. But for me, it's probably either Crime Boss or Fall of Porcupine.
Yeah. Michael Madsen is the actor I was thinking of. This game includes Michael Madsen, Chuck Norris, Danny Trejo, Danny Glover, Michael Rooker, Kim Basinger, and Vanilla Ice and Damien Poitier. I don't know who that is. But it's currently available on PC only, and it's coming out clearly on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S in June. It's developed by In-Game Studios and is published by 505, and it was made in Unreal Engine 5. It says on the Wikipedia page, Crime Boss is focused around missions undertaken by teams of 4 criminals. The player controls one of the criminals and cooperates with either other players or AI-controlled teammates to pull heists off in a first-person perspective. The gameplay has frequently been compared to Payday. The players need to collect enough loot from the target, but the longer they take, the greater likelihood of police reinforcements arriving.
Well then.
Weird. 70 employees over there at In-Game Studios made this game. Interesting. I mean, it does sound kind of cool to be like, take the persona of like Michael Madsen or Vanilla Ice and be like, yeah, dude, let's go rob this place. The people who need money the least. All these fucking famous ass people. Millionaires.
Yeah.
Anyways, I get it. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? It's not getting good reviews. Jake, that's all we have today for the show. And I just want to thank, again, LJ for sitting in last week. And thank the listeners for tuning in so diligently week after week to listen to us. I hope we are kind of back into the groove here with the podcast. I know it's been kind of weird. I did a solo one kind of recently. We did one with LJ, but I think, Jake, you're back around for a while now. So we should be back to the status quo. So thanks to everyone who stuck around with us during those couple episodes where it wasn't our regular show. Outside of that, man, I hope you guys had a nice Father's Day. I hope that you guys are getting some gaming in, and I can't wait to get back on Beat Saber, dude. And I'm thinking about downloading some songs for it. I'll say the one thing about Beat Saber, on the Oculus and shit, you can actually upload custom songs, like your own music.
Yeah.
And it figures out the metronome settings and shit and like does it for you. You can't do that on the PS5 because I would love to put like a Flood song on there or like, like a One Up by Land song or some shit and have it like just figured out just to see how it works. But not an option on the PS5, so you can't like sideload shit. So it is what it is. Jake, what do you got? What do you want to say to the listeners before we sign off?
So a lot of times, not a lot of times, but every so often I'll go on Craigslist and look at what motorcycles are for sale because I clearly don't have enough. And I find it so intriguing. I'm not like even offended, but I just find it intriguing that every so often you'll see a Craigslist ad for a motorcycle, and it's almost always a sport bike, sometimes a cruiser, where it will be some woman mostly naked with like a helmet on sitting on this motorcycle. And I'm like, this is a Craigslist ad for a motorcycle, like someone's personal motorcycle. This isn't like a fucking Harley pinup calendar or some shit. So, like, does this sell the motorcycle? Like, do people honestly believe that they are like generating interest by putting like their fucking personal partner on there, or are they paying people to pose mostly naked on their motorcycle? Like I'm so intrigued by this because it's a peer-to-peer marketplace and not like fucking Ducati releasing an ad for the new freaking super bike with like some supermodel on it. It's like some guy's bike and he has it parked by the fucking lake and there's just a chick with fucking booty shorts on just like straddling this thing with her helmet on, and maybe it's her bike. I don't know.
I'm trying to find
I don't want to
what you're describing.
I don't want to be here, let me see if I can pull up the one that I might have already closed it out here. But
I have a hard time believing it's really a true advertisement for somebody's personal vehicle. It sounds more like some sort of phishing attempt or more like some sort of fucking.
Here, I just posted it in the fucking Discord chat.
I'm gonna click it.
And this one isn't completely naked, but she's like got all legs are exposed. She's wearing fucking high heels, sitting on this sport bike. And
it's not even real, dude, because look at the background.
But like all these pictures, like one of them is a guy in a tuxedo sitting on this motorcycle.
The last
another one is like a
picture is
picture
real.
in front of a lake. then one of them is a picture in front of a fence, and one of them is a picture like in someone's fucking broke ass garage. Like I don't like if I'm trying to sell one of my motorcycles, should I like do this? Like I don't understand.
Put me in booty shorts?
Yeah. I honestly wonder if this works. Like that's what I'm curious about. It's not even necessarily that I want to shame anyone for doing this. It's just like cuz whatever, it's fine. I don't give a shit. But like do people actually look at this and be like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to fucking look at this bike now." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
Other than just like pulling up the picture, and I mean, like even the most depraved man might like pull up the fucking picture and like wank it to this Craigslist photo. But like, are you actually gonna buy that motorcycle because somebody's fucking, put their sister on their bike and like took a picture of it and put it on Craigslist?
She's decked out in like a leather jacket and a helmet. It looks like she rides. To me, but the first thing that
she's wearing fucking high heels. The thing that gives it away is
it's not real.
She's not riding this bike. She's got high heels on and she's got a leather jacket, but like no pants on. I'm sorry,
booty shorts.
And yeah,
she's not naked.
No, obviously she's not.
I know what you mean. No,
I don't know. I digress a little bit, but it's like. I just wonder, like, do these types of things work? I get that they work in the mass market appeal when you've got freaking beer commercials with chicks with their tits hanging out and stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, horn dog's gonna horn and they're gonna fucking buy that beer.
Horn dog's gonna horn.
But I don't know about like personal ads on fucking. Maybe people think that if they buy this bike, they'll get a blowjob or something. I don't know. But Jesus. it's an interesting thought that I just kind of had because I was just, as you were closing out, I was just kind of scrolling through Craigslist a little bit.
That's a part of the dark web I'm not familiar with is Craigslist. I'm not on there enough.
Dude, it's the fucking Wild West, man. You got to watch your wallet on Craigslist. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I've bought a couple things on there. And I've sold one or two things on there, but it is not something that I feel comfortable with.
Fair enough. All right. Well, on that note, listeners, if you want to wank it to Craigslist pictures, there's a Honda CBR 500R 2017 ABS motorcycle with a girl with her ass sticking out in booty shorts trying to sell a bike to you. So, Jake... I don't know. That's all I got. Do you we're being a little what is the word? A little
this might be a scam.
It's definitely a scam, dude.
Cuz this guy's like I don't live in America anymore. Like it's probably one of those scams where he's like, "Yeah, just fucking wire me the money and I'll ship you the bike."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, come on. Bro, come on. This is the shit you got to worry about on Craigslist. But I don't know. We can be.
Yeah. Well, I know we got a little explicit there towards the end, talking about some mature things, which is why we always put on our podcast it's for adults only. So it's not made for children. It's cussing. There's other talk. But that's the beauty of podcasts, man. The FCC can't say shit about what we say on here. So anyways, that's all I got. Jake, thank you. And we're going to just shut up. So like PlayStation, Pacific Drive, and Pragmata. P.S.
This
is awesome.
awesome.